What's going on, everybody? It's Joel here, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Nano 11 Pursuit. Okay, so these are the most stripped back Nano that you can possibly get right now. There's so many different special editions and variations of the Nano 11 already. It's actually pretty crazy, but these are supposed to be the lightweight, most minimal version of them all. And I already thought the Nano 11s were in a pretty good place as far as how minimal the upper felt. I mean, obviously the platform of the shoe is not very minimal. They're pretty tall and whatnot, but we'll get back to that. But the actual upper and weight of them, I thought they were pretty light to begin with. But these take it one step further. The majority of the difference that you're gonna find on this shoe is from just the upper. Pretty much nothing else has changed, like the platform, the heel counter. That stuff really hasn't been touched, but it's really all found in the upper. So first off, we have this brand new kind of mesh upper that spans the whole length of the shoe pretty much, and then it has a 3D printed graphic overlay on top of it to give it a little bit more rigidity. Then you have the vector that's placed a little bit further down on the lateral side. And I think it has a pretty cool look to it. At first I wasn't sold on it. It looked like a, I don't know, I guess like a track running shoe. But the more and more I looked at it, the more and more I liked it. And I do think it is a fairly good looking shoe, especially on feet. These things do look really good on feet. In this white colorway, they don't actually get that dirty too. I've pretty much been beating these up, and they're still predominantly white. One thing that I am noticing is that they're yellowing a little bit quick, and that's around the lace eyelets. So that's kind of alarming. That's a problem that I've had with just Reebok shoes in general though. So this new upper, it's that mesh material. It's not like the Flex Weave knit though. It's not as stretchy. It is plenty flexible, but it does hold your feet a little bit better than the Flex Weave knit, and that I do like about this upper. On top of that, it's very breathable. It feels like a second skin almost. It's very light and minimal. There's no cushioning inside of the shoe on top of your feet like they've done in the past. And I still think it is overall very comfortable, and I do like this upper. The one thing I do not really care for on this shoe is the tongue. Even though it is lighter, it seems to stay in place better than the standard Nano 11 tongue. It still does want to shift to the lateral side of the shoe. So what it's supposed to do is this centerpiece is supposed to go around your ankle or go in the front of your ankle, and then it's supposed to wrap around your ankle. But usually what will happen is this will just end up sliding to the side just like it does on the normal Nano 11. It's not really hooked on to anything inside of the shoe besides this eyelet right here at the top, which does have a Reebok logo. Other than that, it's a little bit more or less noticeable than the standard Nano 11 tongue because it's like paper thin. I am worried that with too many pulls, this will end up pulling away and pulling and tearing like the Romoleo 3s. That was an issue with that shoe that had a very similar tongue to this. So I try to not pull on this part as much as I possibly can. The laces on this shoe are a little bit different than your standard Nano 11 laces. They're a little bit more minimal, obviously, and they actually stay tied pretty well. I have no complaints about them. I think they look good. They feel pretty high quality. There's a little gradient at the tip, which is a nice little detail with these shoes as well. Overall, the looks on this shoe, I think they nailed pretty well. And then at the back part of the shoe, you've got the Nano 11 logo, and then there's that embedded heel counter. You can really feel it. Obviously, the back part of the shoe is pretty much the same, so it does rise up. If it gave you problems on any of the previous Nanos, like with rubbing into your, or any of the other iterations of the Nano 11 with rubbing into the back of your Achilles, probably going to have that issue here as well because it's pretty much the exact same thing. And then we have the heel clip that runs pretty much from the back of the shoe all the way to the middle part of the shoe. And then these areas are now open and they don't have any kind of TPU or anything in those spots. Like on the normal shoes, there is a panel there that was a different material. On these shoes, they're just completely open. And then The back part of the shoe still had that little ridge for the heel clip. Exact same thing as the normal one. And then the outsole pattern is the exact same thing as the normal one. Lug depth is the same as the normal Nano 11s, and it has that cool gradient, which is I think is a cool look with this shoe. It's actually got like a translucent look to it, so you can see through the black plastic, gray plastic, whatever you want to say, and the outsole as well. Traction on the shoe has always been good for me, so I don't really have anything to complain about. Rope climbs for me personally have always been good as well. You still have the Rope Pro in the medial part of the shoe, which has come undone for some people. I've seen it happen, but for me it's never happened. I've never had a problem rope climbing in these shoes, or any Nano 11s for that matter, and I actually think they're pretty good for rope climbing. So I can't really comment on all the negative things that people say about the rope climbing in the Nano 11s. These also, like I said, carry that same platform, so they have that 7mm drop that has the float ride inserts to give you a little bit more cushioning, though it does feel like these shoes are a little bit stiffer than the typical float rides or the typical Nano 11s. It's just a little bit, and it could come down to manufacturing, but they feel just a little bit less soft, which I actually prefer than the normal Nano 11s. I think they're both pretty good, but I do like that slight bit of more density to my midsole. The insole on the shoe is the exact same thing. There's no difference to it. It's an anatomical insole, cups your heel. It's actually a pretty nice insole, so can't really complain there. And then the weight of these for men's size 9.5 is 9.9 ounces, really, really light. I got the normal Nano 11s in at 10.9 ounces. So you're saving a full ounce by going to the Nano 11 Pursuits. So when it comes to sizing your Nano 11 Pursuits, I have been sizing all of my Nano 11s down. So I typically wear a size 10. For these, I got them in a size 9.5. Was a little snug initially, but it broke in, and these things fit perfect, like a glove. These fit probably better than any of the other Nano 11s. I like that it doesn't let your foot bleed out, especially in the toe box of the shoe. The toe box on the normal Nano 11s for me is really, really big. On this shoe, it holds my feet a lot better, and I think that these are the best fitting of all of the Nano 11s. I mean, might be close with the Nano 11 Adventures, but I got those in my normal 10, so there's a little bit of space, but I do like the way that those fit. These ones in a 9.5 fit like perfect for me. And if you're worried about something that has like a wide toe box, Nano 11s are gonna be the shoe for you. These things have a really wide toe box. They're pretty neutral too, like the instep of this shoe, there's really no arch. So if you have flat feet, I think you're gonna be okay with these shoes. And then the only issue that you might have is that if you have thick ankles, you might get that Achilles rub. I don't personally have that issue. It does rub a little bit, but I don't personally have that issue. So when it comes to doing like running and plyometric movements, I think that these shoes are pretty good. They're a little bit better than your normal Nano 11s because they hold your feet a little bit better and they are a little bit lighter. But generally the feel is gonna be pretty similar. Like the float ride feels pretty similar. Like I said, these were a little bit more dense, but when it comes down to actually running, jumping, bounding, I didn't really notice that much of a difference. Burpees in these shoes still feel really good. The toe bumper does do a good job of hooking up with the ground, giving you that traction and helping you get over that bar if you're doing bar facing burpees and whatnot. Box jump rebounding is also comfortable in these shoes. I think the float ride does a good job of being responsive, but also giving you that little bit of shock absorption when you're rebounding back and forth between the ground and the box. For running, these are good. I think that they are good for most people. They're not soft. I actually think that they're pretty good for running in like CrossFit workouts, but like these are definitely not going to be my pick for running over like 3 miles or so. For like the typical CrossFit WOD up to like a couple miles, I think that these are going to be fine. When you're like just like running 400s, 200s, maybe even 800s at a time, but they're not like soft shoes at all. They're still pretty stiff because they are training shoes. But otherwise, I think they're pretty comfortable for running. When it comes to lifting, I still have my issues with Nano 11s. I still don't think that these are the greatest lifting shoes. I do get pitched forward, and the more I think about it, I think it's really just, it comes down to your ankle mobility. Like, I have pretty good ankle mobility, so I'm always going to be a little bit further forward. If you don't really have great ankle mobility, you might actually really like lifting in Nano 11s, because you're going to be like perpetually just more on your heels because you just can't get to your toes. But I have issues lifting in pretty much all Nano 11s because of the way that the toe spring is shaped. It kind of acts like a little rocking chair for me. So when I'm doing my Olympic weightlifting, I always feel like I can't have my full foot on the ground. I'm either always on my toes or on my heels, and then my toes are off the ground. Other than that though, I still can lift in them. I just don't really care for it all that much. When it comes down to like barbell cycling, I like never touch my heels on the ground, which I think that's a problem over time, but I can deal with it. Like, if the weight is light enough, it's not really that big a deal. The density of the midsole is actually pretty good for lifting. Like, I think that these are stiff. They're a little bit tall, which I don't like. That's not going to be great for deadlifts. They do pitch you a little bit further forward. They make you work a little bit harder for deadlifts. So they're not obviously going to be like a deadlift PR shoe, but you know, for the most of the weight that you're going to do in a typical CrossFit workout, 225, 315, 405, they should be fine depending on your ability to deadlift. All in all, lifting experience really hasn't changed that much. Like I said before, they do feel a little bit more dense, but it doesn't really change the lifting experience, which is primarily hampered for me personally by the toe spring angle on this shoe. The Nano 11 Pursuits retail for $150, so you do have to pay a little bit of a premium to get these shoes. And I don't really think it's worth it. Like, if you really like the way that these shoes look, then great, but I don't think that they give you that much more or provide any kind of really substantial changes over the normal Nano 11s, even the Nano 11 grits, or the Adventures, which I would probably just pick the Adventures over these, just because you do get that better holding upper. You get, actually, I think, in my opinion, a better looking shoe, and they don't cost any more than the normal Nano 11s. They cost the same exact thing. So all the performance in those and cheaper price. These are not a bad version of the Nano 11s. I think they're one of the better versions. I just don't think that they are worth the extra cost over normal Nano 11s to get these. And if you have normal Nano 11s, I don't think you're missing too much by not having these. But I do like these. I think probably, I don't know, tied for first or second best of the whole Nano 11 lineup. It's real close between these and the Adventures. But you know, as a general CrossFit shoe, they should be fine. As a lifting shoe, not really my favorite. I can deal with it, but I prefer not to. And as an overall just general training shoe, I think they're pretty good. If you guys have any questions about the Nano 11 Pursuits, feel free to leave them in the comment section. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Make sure that you guys are subscribed to my channel as well for all the latest fitness reviews. And thanks for watching, guys.